I still remember the day. I remember when self-checkouts first came to the Walmart store I was working at. And you would have thought we had rolled out something dangerous onto the sales floor. Nobody quite knew what to make of it. The cashiers, they weren't excited. Almost immediately, I started hearing, those things are here to take our jobs. And honestly, I understood why they thought that. If your job is standing behind a register scanning groceries, and the company suddenly installs a machine that lets the customer scan their own groceries, you kind of don't need a business degree to figure out why that might make someone a little nervous. But the customers weren't exactly lining up to embrace our new, robot overlords either. Some of them looked at those machines like a rat looking at a trap. You know what I mean? They stand back, look at it, walk a little closer, then think, nope, that's how they get you. Like if they got too close, the machine was going to attack them or something. I don't know. And once people finally did start using them, that's when another comment became pretty damn common. So, when do I pick up my paycheck? Or, one of my favorites, if I'm doing your job, shouldn't Walmart be paying me? And I've heard some other versions of that more times than I could possibly count. Now, here's where things start getting interesting, because at the same time customers were complaining about having to scan their own groceries, there was another complaint we heard consistently. Why don't you have more registers open? Well, that's a pretty good question. Because if you've ever walked into a big box store on a busy Saturday and seen a bunch of closed registers while the open ones had lines, you know exactly how frustrating that can be. So now we've got two complaints. You don't have enough cashiers, and I'm not using self-checkout. That's the cashier's job. Okay, those two things don't necessarily contradict each other. A customer can reasonably want a store to hire more cashiers instead of installing more machines. And that's fair. But there's another side to this. What if self-checkout isn't there just to replace the cashier? What if it's also there to give customers another option? I've got three things. There's a family in front of me with two shopping carts that look like they're preparing for winter or something. Do I really need somebody else to scan my toothpaste, frozen pizza, and a Coke? Or would I rather walk over there, scan three things, and be in my car in 2 minutes later? And here's something else that sometimes gets lost in this argument. At most stores, nobody is standing there saying, use the machine, use the machine, use the machine. There are still staffed registers. Don't like self-checkout? That's okay. Get in the cashier's line. Want to get out faster? There's another option. And maybe that's where we need to start digging. Because self-checkout was sold to us as a convenience, but the employees saw job replacement, and some customers saw unpaid labor. And the stores saw, well, we're going to have to dig a little deeper into what the store saw. Because somewhere between convenience, labor costs, shorter lines, and customer choices, a machine that was supposed to make checkout easier somehow became something people are still arguing about decades later. So maybe the first question isn't, is self-checkout good or bad? Maybe it's, what problem was self-checkout actually supposed to solve? Because depending on who you ask, you're probably going to get a very different answer. And that's where we need to start digging. Now, before I make too much fun of those customers at Walmart who looked at self-checkout like it was some kind of a trap, I need to admit something. I was actually one of them. Before self-checkout ever got to my store or my Walmart that I was working at, I ran into it at a grocery store, and I didn't trust it. I looked at that thing like it was a bomb just waiting for somebody to touch the wrong button. And apparently I wasn't going to be a volunteer on there. So I got into a regular a regular check lane. Unfortunately, I ended up behind a family with 3 overflowing shopping carts, and they weren't just checking out. Oh no, they were doing what I like to call shopping at the register. The cashier would pick something up, and suddenly there'd be a family meeting. Should we get this? I've never had it before. What if what if we don't like it? And I'm standing there with about 5 things, thinking, you had the entire store to make these decisions. The person running the front must have seen the look on my face, because she came over and decided this would be the perfect time to introduce me to self-checkout, or AKA our cashier overlords. She started walking me over there, and I'm looking at this machine like somebody showing me a new car. I'm checking it out from every angle. I'm pretty sure if the thing had tires, I would have kicked the tires a little bit. Then she showed me what to do. Scan this, put it here. Scan the next thing, blah, 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 blah. You pay right here. And suddenly I'm thinking, wait a minute. You mean I can buy my 5 things without listening to, do we need this? I don't know. Do you want it? Well, I only got it because you said you wanted it. This machine might be onto something. But I still had one question. And it's the same question I would hear from customers years later when I worked at Walmart. I asked her, if the customer has to do their own scanning and basically be their own cashier, shouldn't we get something in return? Maybe a discount or something? And she looked at me and she said, you get time. I'm not gonna lie. At the time, I thought that answer was just a little unnecessary. But I scanned my 5 things, I paid, walked out to my car, and then it hit me. I could have still been standing in that line. That family probably wasn't even through cart number 2 yet. And suddenly, you get time. Sounded like a pretty good deal for scanning my own, to have to scan my own 5 items. That's when I decided self-checkout was a good thing. Now, let me be very specific here. A good thing for me, because that's really where this argument starts getting complicated. I was willing to do a little bit of work myself because what I got in exchange mattered more to me. Time. I didn't get 10% off my groceries. I didn't get an employee discount. Nobody handed me a name tag and scheduled me for the next shift. I got something that at that moment was more valuable to me. I got out of the store. But not everybody makes that same trade. Some people look at self-checkout and say, why should I do something the store used to pay somebody else to do? And that's a fair question, especially when the machine isn't exactly cooperating. It's not cooperating very well. Scan something wrong, call an employee. If you're buying an age-restricted item, call an employee. Something doesn't ring up, call an employee. And then there's everybody's favorite, unexpected item in bagging area. Well, yeah, I just put the damn thing in there. So sometimes this incredible labor-saving technology still requires an employee to come over and convince the machine that you're not trying to overthrow the government with a bag of potatoes. And there's another part of the customer's argument we really shouldn't ignore. We say nobody is forcing you to use self-checkout. And generally that's true. Nobody's forcing them to use it. They'll just say there's a self-checkout open. Most stores still have staffed registers. Don't want to scan your groceries, get in line and let a cashier do it. But if there are 12 self-checkouts open and one cashier with 8 people waiting, how much of a choice does that really feel like? You can wait. Nobody is physically making you use the machine. But the store has definitely made one option a whole lot more attractive than the other. And that's where I think the people who don't like self-checkout have a legit argument. Because convenience for me doesn't automatically mean convenience for everybody else. Some people have a full cart. Some people aren't comfortable with newer technologies. Some people need assistance, and some people simply say, I'm paying you for these groceries. I don't want to work here too. And I understand that argument, because remember, I made that argument. And years later, when I was working at Walmart, a customer started asking me, so when do I pick up my paycheck, or should I get a discount for doing your job? And I'd give them the look, And eventually I realized, oh, that's the look that woman at the grocery store gave me. and you know what? Thinking back now, you know what? I deserve that look. Because she understood something I hadn't figured out yet. Self-checkout wasn't offering me money for doing the work, it was offering me a trade. A little bit of my effort for a little bit of my time back. Whether that's a good trade, that's up to the customer. But now we need to flip this around, because we've spent plenty of time asking, what does a customer get out of self-checkout? Maybe we should ask another question. What does a store get out of it? Because I promise you, they didn't spend all that money installing those machines just so I wouldn't have to listen to somebody debate on a box of hamburger helper. So we ended Act 2 with the question, what does the store get out of self-checkout? And I think most people already know the first answer. Money. Let's not pretend businesses install self-checkouts purely because they care deeply about me getting my frozen pizza home in 3 minutes faster. Labor is expensive. If one employee can watch several self-checkout stations instead of the store having one cashier for every register, there's an obvious financial benefit to the company, and that's real. And if you're a cashier looking at those machines and thinking, they're trying to replace me with that thing, and I understand why. Remember, I was a cashier. I heard that argument when self-checkout first arrived at Walmart, but eventually I became a manager. And once you're standing on that side of the front end, self-checkouts start looking a whole lot different. So let me paint you a picture. It's the first of the month. It's Saturday. The store's going to be busy, and really busy, and you know this because it's the first weekend of the month. Stores are always busy the first weekend of the month. And you're the manager looking at the call-out log. Cashier called out, another cashier called out, another one called out, and you're sitting there thinking, of course, they have the first of the month Saturday flu. Perfect. You've got 3 cashiers who didn't call out. So out of the 12 cashiers that you had scheduled, 3 of them didn't call out, except one of those 3 has already called and told you they're running a little late. So now you're looking at a store that's completely filling up with customers, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to run one of the busiest parts of the entire building with 2 cashiers. Suddenly, those self-checkouts don't look like machines coming to steal somebody's job. They look like help. And remember the other side of that too. I remember being the cashier, walking towards the front with my drawer, looking at all the people in the store, knowing I was about to be the only cashier up there for about an hour. You haven't even put your drawer in the register yet, and mentally you're already apologizing to people who haven't even gotten in line yet, because you know what's coming. The line starts growing, another one forms, then somebody asks, can you open another register? And you're thinking, absolutely. Would you happen to have another cashier in your purse there, sweetheart? Because that's one of the things customers don't always see. A closed register doesn't necessarily mean there's an employee standing in the back saying, nah, I don't feel like ringing anybody up today. Sometimes there isn't anybody to put there. People call out, people show up late, people go to lunch, people go to breaks, somebody gets pulled to another part of the store. And sometimes the schedule simply didn't match the number of customers who decided to show up at the same time. That's retail. You can be busy the same day last year and not be busy this year. That's just the nature of the beast. That's just retail. And that's where the company's argument for self-checkouts become stronger than just we could save money on cashiers. Self-checkout gives the store something else, flexibility. One employee can oversee multiple checkout stations. A customer with 5 items doesn't necessarily have to stand behind somebody with 3 full carts. And when half your staffing plan disappears with a few phone calls, you still have a way to move customers through the front end. That's valuable to business. It's valuable to the manager, and for the cashier staring at a line, that's getting stronger by the minute. It can be pretty valuable to the cashier as well. But we can't stop digging there, because the cashiers who worried about losing their jobs weren't imagining the basic economics either. If several customers can check themselves out while one employee supervises, then the store doesn't need one cashier for every customer being checked out. That's kind of the point. So both things can be true. Self-checkout can help an understaffed store, and self-checkout can allow a store to operate with fewer cashiers. Those aren't necessarily contradictory statements. They're actually two sides of the exact same business advantage. And that's where this gets uncomfortable, because from the manager's perspective, thank goodness I have self-checkouts. 3 people called out. But from the cashier's perspective, maybe they scheduled fewer people because they have self-checkouts. And from the customer's perspective, I don't care why you're short-staffed. I've been standing here for 20 minutes. And you know what? Depending on the situation, that might all have a point. That's why I don't think this argument is a simple or is as simple as machine versus people. The company wants lower cost. The manager wants enough capability to survive the rush. The cashier doesn't want to be overwhelmed or replaced. And the customers just want to buy their stuff and go home. Self-checkout looks like a completely different thing depending on which one of those people you happen to be. But here's where we need to dig even deeper, because we've talked about what self-checkout was supposed to accomplish. We've talked about what customers got. We talked about what businesses got. We talked about what employees feared. But these machines have been around long enough now that we don't have to guess anymore. We can actually look at what happened. Did they destroy cashier jobs? Did they make cashier or checkout faster? Did they save stores money? And did they create some problem that nobody standing around those first machines saw coming? Because it turns out giving customers control of a register came with a few surprises of its own. So let's dig into that. Okay, so far we've talked about what self-checkout was supposed to do. Customers get another option, stores get flexibility, managers get some help when the call-out log starts looking like a disaster movie. And hopefully everybody gets through the line, a little faster. But self-checkout has been around long enough now that we don't have to talk about what we thought would happen. We can look at what actually happened. And there were a few problems. Because apparently when somebody had the brilliant idea, let's let customers scan their own merchandise and tell us what they're buying, nobody in the meeting raised their hand and said, are we sure everybody's going to be completely honest about this? Because they weren't. Now people have figured out all kinds of ways to commit fraud at self-checkout. I'm not going to explain any of them. This is keep digging, not crime school. But the important part isn't how people figured out ways to cheat the system. It's what happened after they did. Because retailers had to respond. More monitoring, more cameras, more employee intervention, more security, more rules, and suddenly we've created a pretty fun situation. We created self-checkout partly so fewer employees could handle more customers, then discovered we might need employees to watch the customers using the self-checkouts now. Well, that got complicated. And there's something else we should be careful about here. Not everything that goes wrong at self-checkouts is necessarily someone stealing. People make mistakes. Customers aren't trained cashiers. To hear them, they are, but sometimes something doesn't scan correctly. Sometimes someone scans things twice. They think they scanned something, but they didn't. Sometimes the machine decides you've committed an international crime because you moved your bananas 6 damn inches over. The point is, once you've moved the scanning from somebody who does this for a living to somebody who just wants to get home, you're introducing a different set of problems. And retailers have spent years trying to figure out how to manage them. Some have even started changing how they use self-checkout. Target, for example, moved most of its stores to an express self-checkout model of 10 items or fewer. And here's what's interesting. Target says that after making that change, total transaction times improved by nearly 8% across both self-checkout and traditional staff lanes. So self-checkout didn't necessarily fail. Maybe we were just asking it to do too much. Think back to my grocery store story. I had 5 things. The machine was perfect for me. Scan, 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 pay, goodbye. But put somebody with 3 overflowing carts at the same machine, and suddenly you've recreated the exact situation I was trying to escape from in the first damn place. Except now, they're the cashier. Maybe self-checkout works best when it's actually used as express checkout. Small orders. Go for it. Huge carts. Maybe Susan at Register 7 is still the better technology. But other retailers have gotten much further. Dollar General made a major retreat from self-checkouts after concerns about inventory losses and theft. And that's important because now the calculation changes. Remember the business argument from Act 3. Self-checkout can reduce labor needs. Great. But if the money you're saving on labor starts getting eaten up by merchandise walking out the door, the math doesn't look quite as impressive anymore. And that's where something else happened that I find fascinating. The debate got big enough that governments entered the self-checkout lane. Rhode Island recently passed a law regulating self-checkouts in grocery stores. Among other things, grocery stores there generally have to operate at least one staff checkout for every 3 self-checkouts during covered hours. And the employee monitoring the self-checkout area isn't supposed to be doing a bunch of other jobs at the same time. Think about how far we've come. We started with, would you like to scan your own groceries, and somehow ended up with state legislation. And depending on which side you're standing on, the law probably sounds completely different. If you're a cashier, finally someone is protecting these jobs. If you're, a customer who wants a human checkout, good. Now I actually have a choice. If you're the store, wait a minute, the government is telling me how many registers I have to staff. And if you're me with 5 things, can everybody finish arguing? Frozen pizza's about to thaw out here. But here's what I think all of this tells us. Self-checkout didn't turn out to be the simple replacement people imagined when those machines first showed up. It solved some problems, and then it created new ones. And it can make small transactions faster. It can give stores flexibility when staffing gets tight. Some customers absolutely love it, and I'm one of them. But it can also create opportunities for theft and mistakes. It can frustrate customers. It can change what employees actually do. And now some retailers, even and even lawmakers, are trying to figure out where the balance should be at. Which brings me back to those cashiers I worked with when self-checkout first arrived at my Walmart. Remember what I said? Those machines are going to take our jobs. At the time, that sounded like a conversation about self-checkouts. But listen to that sentence again. This new technology is going to take our jobs. Doesn't that kind of sound familiar? Because we're having that exact conversation again, only this time we're not talking about a machine scanning groceries. We're talking about artificial intelligence. And maybe what happened with self-checkouts can tell us something about the argument we're having right now. Because we've already dug into AI and jobs before. There's one more layer we need to get through. Because maybe the biggest lesson from self-checkout isn't about cashiers at all. Maybe it's about what happens every time we invent technology that can do something a person used to do. And that's where we're digging next. So let's go back to where this whole thing started. I'm standing in Walmart looking at these brand new self-checkout machines. The cashiers are looking at them and saying, those things are going to take my job. The customers are looking at them like they're some kind of a trap. And the company is saying, this is going to make checkout more convenient. Everybody was looking at the exact same machine and seeing a completely different future. The cashier saw job loss, the customer saw unpaid work, the company saw efficiency, and people like me eventually saw, wait, I can buy 5 things and get out of here? And you know what? After all these years, everybody was still a little bit right. Self-checkout did change cashiering jobs. Stores did discover they could move more customers through checkout with fewer people working individual registers. Customers did end up doing work that cashiers used to do. Companies did save on labor. And for people like me, it did make buying 5 items a whole lot more convenient. But it has also created problems nobody was putting on the advertisement. Theft, mistakes, customer frustration, more security, more monitoring, and eventually government regulation in some places. It wasn't the perfect future the companies imagined, I'm sure. And it wasn't necessarily the complete disaster some employees feared either. It was messy, which is usually what happens when technology changes something we've been doing the same way for a long time. And that's why I wanted to bring up the AI, because listen to some of the things we're saying today. AI is going to take our jobs. Companies are only using it to save money. People aren't going to know how to do things for themselves anymore. Why do we even need people if machines can do it? And I've heard this argument before. Not exactly this argument. AI is obviously much bigger than a grocery store checkout machine. But the fear underneath the argument, that's familiar. Because when technology learns to do something a human being used to do and used to be paid to do, we immediately start wondering what happens to the human being. And that's not an unreasonable question. Remember those cashiers from Act 1? I don't think they were stupid for being worried about if I make my living scanning groceries and you put 10 machines next to me that allow customers to scan their own groceries. I don't need somebody explaining automation to me. I understand what I'm looking at. But there's another side. Remember me as a manager, first of the month, Saturday, call outs everywhere, one cashier running late, customers pouring into the store. In that moment, I wasn't looking at self-checkout thinking, this machine is destroying jobs. I was thinking, thank God I have it. Same technology, completely different perspective. And maybe that's something worth remembering while we're having the AI arguments. Technology isn't automatically good because it's new. And it isn't automatically bad because it can do something a person used to do. The real question is, what happens after we introduce it? Who benefits? Who gets displaced? What new problems does it create? What old problems does it solve? And what happens to the people caught somewhere in the middle? Because here's another thing self-checkout taught us. Technology doesn't always replace people in the clean way we imagine. Sometimes it changes what the people do. The employee who used to stand behind one register might now oversee several self-checkouts. They fix problems, check IDs, help customers, watch transactions, handle the things the machine can't handle. The job changes. Now, that doesn't mean nobody ever lost a job. They do. And it doesn't mean every technological change eventually works out perfectly for everybody. It doesn't. That's exactly why these conversations matter. But the choice usually isn't as simple as human or machine. Sometimes it's what should the machine do and what should the human still do. And maybe we've been asking the wrong question about self-checkouts all along. Maybe it isn't, should self-checkouts replace cashiers? Maybe it's, where does self-checkout actually make sense? 5 things, and you want to get out quickly. Perfect. 3 overflowing carts, and you're still deciding whether you want half the stuff when you reach the damn register. Susan at register 7 is waiting for you. That's what I would tell them. And maybe that's eventually where some of these other technologies end up too. Not replacing everything, not disappearing because people don't like them, but finding the places where they actually make sense. Because here's the part we can't change. Self-checkout machines showed up whether those cashiers wanted it or not. AI showed up whether we were ready for it or not. And whatever comes next probably isn't going to wait for our permission either. The future has a pretty bad habit of showing up ready or not. So maybe our job isn't to blindly embrace every new technology, and it isn't to automatically reject it either. Maybe our job is to keep asking questions. What are we gaining? what are we losing? Who benefits? Who gets left behind? And most importantly, can we make the new thing work better than the old thing without forgetting the people who still have to live through this change? Because self-checkouts was never really just about scanning groceries. It was another chapter in a much older story. People trying to figure out what to do when the world changes underneath them, and apparently we're still figuring that one out. You know, when I first started digging into self-checkouts, I thought we were talking about a machine at the grocery store. But the deeper we got, the more I realized we weren't really talking about self-checkout at all. We were talking about change, and how differently change looks depending on where you're standing. It was the customer looking at the machine like it was a bomb waiting to go off. Oh, wait a minute, that was me, not the customer, not the other customers. Then I was the customer asking, should I get a discount for doing the work myself? Then I became the cashier who understood why employees were worried. And eventually, I became the manager looking at a call-out log thinking, thank God those machines are there. Same person, same technology, different perspective, and maybe that's why I understand both sides of this one. If you don't like self-checkouts, I get it. If you love it, I get that too. Personally, give me 5 things and point me towards the machine. I've got places to be. But I also understand the person who says, nope, I can wait for a cashier, and that's okay. Because maybe we don't always have to decide that one side is right and the other side is wrong. Sometimes we just need to understand why they see it differently. And I think that's going to become even more important as technology keeps changing. Because like we talked about with AI, the future is coming, ready or not. We can be afraid of it, we can be excited about it, we can question it, we can even argue about it. And sometimes we probably should argue about it, because new doesn't automatically mean better. But old doesn't automatically mean better either. Maybe the best thing we can do is keep asking, what are we gaining, what are we losing? And is there a better way to do this? And I'm not here to tell you whether you should use self-checkouts. I mean, I'm just a guy with a mental shovel who once thought he deserved a discount for scanning 5 items. And apparently, I deserve the look I got for asking that question. But that's what happens when you keep digging. Sometimes you discover the other side was wrong. Sometimes you discovered you were wrong. And sometimes you discover everybody was a little bit right and a little bit wrong. And that's why we got a lot more digging to do. So let's keep digging.